It was the third weekend of October, and the leaves in Red River Gorge had already started turning. Deep reds, oranges, and yellows blanketed the cliffs, painting the forest in firelight during the day. My two friends, Mark and Elise, and I were on our first overnight backpacking trip, hoping to get away from the city and catch some of the clear night skies the gorge is known for. We picked a small clearing off a little-used trail, just enough space to pitch our tents near a cliff overlook. The sun was dipping behind the trees when we finished setting up. The air was cool, carrying the smell of damp earth and pine needles. Birds still called lazily from above, but the deeper shadows of the gorge were already swallowing the lower forest. We made a fire, roasted hot dogs and marshmallows, and swapped stories while the sun faded. By 10 p.m., the fire was low, and the gorge was mostly silent, save for the occasional rustle of leaves from small animals or a branch creaking in the wind. I went to the edge of the clearing to stretch my legs, staring down into the gorge. The darkness was absolute. The trees seemed to absorb all the light, and the cliffs dropped away into shadows so black I could barely tell where the forest ended. I shivered, not from cold, but because of how empty it felt. "Come back," Elise called from the tent. "Don't wander too far." I laughed. "Relax, it's just the forest." Around midnight, we were all asleep in our tents. I woke suddenly to a strange crunching noise, faint, but deliberate, coming from just outside the clearing. I froze, my heart hammering. At first, I thought it was a deer or raccoon. But the steps were too precise, too slow. Someone, or something, was pacing around the edge of our campsite. I whispered to Mark, who was closest to the tent flap, "Do you hear that?" He shifted, groaning. "Probably just a raccoon. Go back to sleep." I didn't sleep. The footsteps continued, slow circles around our tents. I pressed my ear to the tent wall. Heavy breathing. Not human, or at least, not normal human. Deep, slow, dragging breaths. Then, a silence so complete it made my skin crawl. I dared to unzip the tent slightly and peek out. About 20 feet away, standing at the edge of the clearing, was a black figure. I could barely make it out, it wasn't reflecting any light from the dying embers of our fire. It was just black. Tall, unnaturally thin, its limbs slightly too long. Its head tilted at an odd angle, too far to be human. I blinked. And it didn't move. I jerked back into the tent, whispering to Mark and Elise. "Guys, something's out there." At first, they groaned. "It's probably a tree," Elise mumbled. "I don't think so," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. It's moving. Or watching us." Before anyone could respond, the figure stepped forward. Slowly. Not walking, gliding, almost. Its long legs didn't bend right, its movement stiff and deliberate, but eerily smooth. We all froze. Our breaths came out shallow. The fire flickered low, shadows stretching across the clearing. The figure stopped just at the edge of the tree line, still black, still watching. I swear it tilted its head, like it was listening, gauging us. And then, in a whisper that didn't carry like a human voice, a sound that sent shivers down my spine, I heard a hiss. Sleep. I could feel it inside my chest. Something unnatural. The air grew thick. My stomach dropped. Mark grabbed my shoulder. "We need to leave," he whispered. We scrambled to pack our tents in the dark. The figure didn't move closer, but it didn't leave either. It stayed, just beyond the firelight, observing. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of a leaf seemed magnified. As soon as we finished, we started hiking back down the trail, flashlights cutting weak beams through the black forest. The quiet was deafening. Every shadow seemed to twitch. Every sound echoed in ways it shouldn't. Then, out of nowhere, I caught a glimpse in the corner of my eye. The figure had moved closer. It wasn't running. not even walking. It was gliding, its legs unnaturally long and fluid. We froze. And then, almost imperceptibly, it tilted its head, the same eerie motion, and we all felt it studying us, thinking, waiting. We didn't dare run. We just walked faster, hearts in our throats, trying not to make a sound. When we finally hit the main trail and looked back, the clearing was empty. No sign of the figure, no footprints, nothing. When we returned a few weeks later, during the day, everything looked normal. The clearing was empty, the cliff overlooks quiet. But I know what I saw that night. And I know, if you camp there alone, sometimes in the dead of night, you might see something black, standing at the edge of the clearing, just watching. It was late September, and the leaves around Tenaya Lake in Yosemite National Park were just starting to turn. My friends Sarah and Ben and I had decided to do a 2-night backpacking trip along the high country trails. The day had been sunny, crisp, and breathtaking, mountains reflecting in the lake, clear skies full of stars. We set up camp near the lakeshore as night fell. The air was sharp with cold, and every sound seemed amplified. Water lapped quietly at the shore, crickets chirped, and a distant owl called somewhere deeper in the woods. By around 11 p.m., we had crawled into our sleeping bags inside our tent, listening to the lake's soft ripple. But then Sarah stiffened. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. At first, I didn't. Then I caught it, a faint call, almost human. "Hello. Hey." We froze. It sounded like a woman calling, and the voice carried across the lake. Ben flicked on a flashlight and pointed toward the tree line. "Nothing. Maybe someone's out hiking," Ben suggested. The voice called again, closer now. "Hello, come here." It wasn't getting louder or closer, exactly. Just, the same tone, the same rhythm, almost mechanical. I stepped outside the tent cautiously, flashlight in hand. The tree line opposite the lake was shadowed, but I swore I saw movement, a figure, tall and unnaturally thin, stepping between the trees. Its limbs were too long, joints bending the wrong way. Its head tilted slightly, too far to be human. I gasped and stumbled backward. "Did you see that?" I whispered. Sarah shook her head violently. "I saw it. It's like it's copying someone." The voice came again, but this time right behind our tent, identical to Sarah's own tone from earlier. "Come here." We spun around. Nothing. Just our campsite, silent, as if holding its breath. Then we heard rustling. Something crawling along the forest floor, moving fast, yet almost silently. The figure emerged from the shadows, gliding toward us. Its face, or the place, where its face should have been, was completely black. No eyes, no mouth, just a smooth, featureless void. I stumbled backward, hitting the tent wall. Ben grabbed my arm. "Go. Get to the car." We ran across the rocks and tree roots, the figure keeping pace without a sound. Occasionally, we'd catch a glimpse of it, gliding, tilting its head, studying us. When we reached the parking lot, cars empty, lights flickering, we finally stopped. The forest was silent behind us. We dared a glance back at the lake, nothing. But the echoes remained. I can still hear that distorted, copied voice when it's quiet. Algonquin Park, Ontario, is beautiful in the summer, but there's a reason people tell stories about Wendigos and strange creatures. My cousin Alex and I rented a backcountry campsite near Canoe Lake, far from any other campers. The first night was quiet. We made a small fire, cooked our food, and went to bed early. Around midnight, I woke to a sound, something large moving through the underbrush. Heavy footsteps, yet strangely quiet, like the forest itself was swallowing them. Alex whispered, "Did you hear that?" I nodded. The footsteps circled the campsite. Then, a voice, mimicking Alex's tone perfectly. "Come here. I found something." I froze. Alex was right beside me. The voice called again, breaking slightly, like it was practicing, testing the words. I grabbed our flashlights and pointed toward the trees. That's when we saw it. A tall figure crouched behind a tree, limbs long, twisted, head cocked unnaturally. Its skin was pale, stretched over bones like parchment. Its mouth opened wider than any human jaw should, emitting a low, gurgling scream that blended with a deer-like cry. We didn't move. It simply observed, tilting its head, testing us. Then it stepped closer. Not running, not walking, but gliding over the damp forest floor. Each step left no imprint, just slight depressions in the moss. We grabbed the canoe and pushed off into the lake, paddling frantically under the moonlight. The figure reached the shore, watching, unmoving. Its head tilted, like it was learning our patterns, reading us. We paddled until dawn, not daring to stop. When the morning came, the campsite looked normal, nothing disturbed except deep drag marks through the moss, spiraling in strange patterns. We packed up and left immediately. Later, a ranger told us other campers had reported strange calls in the night, voices not their own, along Canoe Lake. I don't go back there. And if you ever camp alone in the Algonquin backcountry, remember, sometimes what's watching doesn't want to be seen. It just wants to learn. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe. Your support really helps the channel. Make sure to stay safe out there.